Every time he dates someone, he drugs them, but he never takes advantage. Instead, he secretly gives them a new identity, turning them into someone else entirely. When the woman wakes up, she's on a private jet, tens of thousands of feet in the air. Terrified, she quickly realizes her hands don't feel like her own, and to her absolute horror, there's an unconscious stranger sitting across from her. Panicked, she grabs a mirror from her bag, trying to remember what happened before she blacked out, but she can't make sense of any of it. Left with no choice, she wakes the man. He wakes up just as confused, realizing this body isn't his either. As they're both panicking, a fully geared pilot suddenly appears. Without a word, he opens the hatch and jumps. The plane spirals out of control. It all happens too fast. They don't even have time to react before they're gone. Police quickly identify the bodies, but Jack takes one look and knows those aren't the two who were on that plane. The revelation shocks the entire station. Jack himself was once the top name on the most wanted list, but now, trying to go straight, he's helped the police catch numerous fugitives, and this alchemist, a master of creating doubles and faking deaths, is one of the key targets on his list. Following Jack's sharp observation, officers re-examine the victim's teeth. Sure enough, there are clear signs of tampering, but even Jack can't figure out how the alchemist faked the DNA. One thing he's sure of, the real Dannys are still alive. After a thorough investigation, officers track down the real Danny. Turns out, the couple are key witnesses against a mob syndicate. Fearing retaliation from the gang, the wife contacted the alchemist to stage their deaths, but then, the alchemist walks right into the station. This time, he's posing as their lawyer. Since neither Danny nor the cops know what he looks like, no one suspects a thing. Danny assumes his wife must have sent him, and without a second thought, accepts the gum he offers. Within seconds, he starts struggling to breathe. By the time officers notice something is wrong, Danny is already dead, and the alchemist slips away right under their noses. Meanwhile, Danny's wife, still in the dark, learns the plan is blown. Furious, she goes to the alchemist to demand her money back. A master locksmith built 4 massive safes. He then locked himself inside the most secure one. He hoped this would lure out a genius lockpicker, but his skills were already legendary. People tried to save him, but found it was simply impossible. The safe became his permanent tomb, sinking with him into the deep sea. The man he waited for wouldn't appear for another century. That man's name is Jack, a low-level clerk at a local bank. He does the most basic work every day, but what no one realizes is that he has a secret identity, a true master of safe cracking. Opening a high-security lock? It takes him just 8 seconds flat. His dream is to one day crack the locksmith's 4 legendary safes. Yet a man with such talent remains completely unnoticed, until one fateful day, he receives a mysterious anonymous email, inviting him to put his skills to the test. At first, he assumes it's just a prank, but after some thought, he decides to check it out. He follows the address to a location, exchanges a code word, and is led inside. The room is filled with top lockpickers from various cities, but Jack is completely confused. He thought it was a serious meeting, but he's been forced into a competition. Before he can figure out what's happening, someone in the room cracks a lock, then a second, then a third. Only one spot remains up for grabs. That's when Jack finally makes his move. He places his hand on the dial, gives it a few gentle turns, and secures the last spot. Among the crowd, an elegant woman catches his eye. He doesn't know it yet, but she will change his life. The next morning, he goes to his usual coffee shop, and there she is, Anna from yesterday. They sit down together. No sooner do they sit, than Anna pulls out several items, but she didn't bring them with her. She just lifted them from the people in the shop. Her name is Anna, a globally wanted jewel thief, part of an international heist crew. She approached Jack to recruit him. The anonymous email and the lockpicking contest were her doing, all to test his abilities, and clearly, she's impressed. Jack wanted to stay out of trouble, but their next target changes his mind. They're after the locksmith's 4 legendary safes. Except for the one at the bottom of the sea, the other 3 still serve the World Bank, but their service ends in just 4 days. Once the deadline hits, all the safes will be destroyed. The crew has 4 days to pull off 3 international heists, and for Jack, it's his only chance to touch the legend. Anna doesn't pressure him, she just leaves an address, giving him time to decide. After a night of thinking, Jack finally agrees to join. He shoves a starved piranha down his pants. He lets its teeth tear into him, yet a look of pure bliss spreads across his face. The killer across from him is stunned by the insane sight. He reaches out and pulls at the man's pants to check. The bloody scene he witnesses makes him dizzy. This self-inflicted cruelty deeply wounds his pride. As the syndicate's top assassin, he doesn't hesitate. He pulls out a grenade and hurls it at his foe, but the man reacts swiftly. He uses a fan to bat the grenade right back, and so, on the endless sea, a bizarre game of ping pong begins. Neither backs down. One volleys, the other returns. They toss life and death aside. As the fuse burns down to its last second, both dive into the water, holding their breath to escape the blast. After the explosion, the sea falls silent. The killer surfaces first. He looks around. No sign of his opponent, just a pair of pants floating on the waves. He's absolutely ecstatic. He thinks he's finally won this battle of pride, but he's fallen for the decoy. Just as he believes he's shaken him off for good, he glances back over his shoulder. There, charging through the waves like a whale, is the man who should have been blown to bits. Terrified, he guns the throttle, but Jack won't let him get away. He grabs hold of the jet ski's edge, and punches the engine with all his strength. Completely caught off guard, the killer tumbles headfirst into the sea. His backup crew, watching from the shore, is frozen in shock. They stand there, stunned. They scramble back to report to their boss. Hearing what went down, the syndicate's leaders know they're dealing with someone special. They dispatch their deadliest assassin to ambush Jack on his way home from work. One clean shot is all it should take. Jack is incredibly fast and agile, but trapped between two attackers. Even he is overwhelmed. He's bound and thrown into a car. As they drive, he quietly looks for a way out. When his captors let their guard down, he breaks free from his restraints and hurls himself from the speeding vehicle, landing with incredible agility. He scales walls and leaps roofs, heading straight for the syndicate's hideout. If they refuse to back off, he'll tear them out by the roots. Hearing the commotion, gang members rally. They try to intercept him, but Jack moves like a man possessed. In a flash, they're all neutralized. The pilot just pulls a single switch. Suddenly, a 100-meter banner streams from the tail. The enemy pilot is utterly confused. Just as he's trying to read what it says, the pilot flips another switch. Before the enemy can react, the banner gets sucked into the jet engine. The instruments start shaking violently, and the engine erupts in flames. Seconds later, the crippled plane plummets to the ground. But Danny's relief is short-lived. More enemy planes appear on his tail. Without hesitation, they fire a heat-seeking missile. Locked and doomed, the man pulls out a thick roll of tinfoil. He quickly deploys it toward the enemy. Using the explosion's flash and smoke, his wingmen circle behind the enemy. They launch a fierce counterattack, successfully taking down the hostile jet. This seemingly absurd tactic had a serious purpose. Earlier that morning, Annie and Jack entered an unfamiliar forest. As they reached a hidden spot, Annie suddenly stopped. She picked up a stick from the ground and poked at something ahead. The action made Jack's heart race. A dangerous trap was hidden there. Shaken, Jack nearly panicked and promised to stay close and follow her lead. They continued forward cautiously. Suddenly, they heard a vehicle in the distance. Annie tensed up, dropped her pack, and crept closer to look. Peering through the brush, she spotted enemy scouts. Just as she was about to warn Jack, a stubborn donkey wandered in and brayed loudly. It let out a series of brays. Nervous, Jack tried to calm it down, but he accidentally stepped on a hidden trigger. The noise startled nearby birds into flight. The enemy soldiers grew alert. They got out of their vehicle and began searching. Quick thinking, Annie found cover and returned fire. Meanwhile, Jack was still dangling in the air, panicking. To draw fire away from him, Annie shot to attract their attention. She created an opening for Jack. Jack seized the moment and fought back, but they were outnumbered. Their efforts couldn't hold off the enemy. Soon, Jack was captured. The situation just got a whole lot worse. To help the woman escape the room, the man carefully opens the floor hatch. He takes out a mirror prepared earlier, using reflection to conceal the area. Their partner watches nervously, knowing if the kidnapper spots anything, he'll trigger the bombs inside. Using the mirror as effective cover, they sneak into a camera-blind spot. The kidnapper notices nothing. Time is quickly running out for them. Jack pulls out a forged painting and carefully fixes it to the wall. He places a dummy on a nearby stool, then positions Annie to perfectly match its pose. Now comes the most critical part of the plan. He needs to adjust the camera's angle without raising any suspicion at all. Their real objective: steal the priceless original painting. Everyone watches the operation with bated breath. He brings out a large reflective sheet, placing it carefully at a precise 45-degree angle. The kidnapper's monitor flickers just for a moment, then shows a completely different wall. He doesn't suspect anything is wrong. Now finally free from surveillance, they race desperately against the clock. They have to get out as fast as possible. There's less than a minute left on the bombs, but greedy Annie wants to take the painting. Just as they start to remove it from the wall, the kidnapper suddenly calls. Annie desperately tries to stall for time, silently signaling her partner to leave immediately. But the kidnapper senses something is terribly wrong. He hits the detonator without hesitation. The entire room explodes in flames. Luckily, they manage to get out just in time. No one is hurt in the explosion. Jack reunites with his team through the tunnels below, but the explosion draws the police. They seal off the area and investigate. Meanwhile, Jack's crew traces the kidnapper's call, but the clever kidnapper has already vanished. Their only lead goes completely cold. Even more shocking, the destroyed paintings were all fakes. Someone had already switched them, long before their operation even began. So what is really going on here?